want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged Show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
and growing
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound: to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey of impact, our platform is designed to highlight the positive differences we can all make.
Getting involved with our show is easy and rewarding. First, you get to be a guest on this show. This is a fantastic opportunity for brand recognition as you share your story with our engaged listeners.
And Frank and I are now offering Q&A Mastermind monthly sessions. And these are not just informative experiences, but we actually help with your business on strategic insights and provide a supportive group setting.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? And if you're looking to drive targeted lead generation, consider sponsoring our show. We offer multiple tiers and customizable options to fit your marketing needs perfectly.
We have had over 350 guests, and they have been able to brand themselves and share all the goodness that they are doing here in community.
And it's not just about numbers. Our approach opens up a space for vulnerability, helping our guests genuinely connect with audiences. This authentic interaction is a powerful catalyst for community and business growth. Take, for example, we have partners here at Be Encouraged, and since getting involved with our platform, they've seen a staggering 900% growth in just 7 months here in the Springs.
So if you're ready to make a significant impact, join us today at beencouraged.net.
And let's make the world a more hopeful and connected place, one story at a time. We are currently at Cole Harbor, our studio sponsor, right?
So beautiful.
Oh, what a wonderful place. We get such great feedback about them and what they're doing. What's so great about Cole Harbor?
Yes. So the owner, Jeremiah Callahan's just phenomenal. His attention to detail from the sound, from the aesthetics, he even got me a little microphone holder for our live Instagrams, Frank. I mean, just the attention to detail to service the business owners here who work out of here is phenomenal.
And what you always feel welcomed here. You always feel a part of this community. It's the most welcoming place that I've ever engaged. And we have some amazing people that work out of here as well.
We do. And they actually have a greeting host, which is incredible during their peak hours.
What an idea, right?
Yes, but some of the people working out of here, you just want to be here just to say hi to them, like Chantel Bridges.
Ooh, and Melinda Joy Mingo.
Yes.
And our friend Tom
Carlson.
Yes, indeed. Wonderful people. And Lisa and I also engaged their facility in Denver called Co-working, which is a fantastic facility.
Gorgeous. Yes. And we have to do a huge shout out for Alan Briggs.
Yes.
He is our right-hand man, especially in this podcast studio. Mm-hmm. He has given us great wisdom and insight on how to use all the bougie stuff that they have in here.
The bougie stuff. Yeah.
It is. It's high end.
It is. It's wonderful. We're so blessed to be able to be here at Cole Harbor. And you need to come in and do a 14-day free trial of this facility. Lisa, tell them a little bit about some of the great things that Cole Harbor offers.
Yes. Well, their membership starts at $25 on up, and that gets them 24/7 access to a beautiful, gorgeous space. And not only that, Frank, you know what they have?
What?
Amazing pour-over coffee, which all of my friends love, and I love the tea. They have hot tea, and they have iced coffee, and they have sparkling water, all the things. It's so beautiful here, so come and check them out.
Well, come on down and join us at Corporate and Tech Center Drive. Beautiful location over here. You can't miss us. We're sponsored by the great Joshua Geary with Cressio. And Joshua just won Hispanic Rising Professional of the Year. Yay! He's been with us so long, and he is really produces and helps us with this show.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Cressio.
Yes, so Cressio, they offer pay what you can consultations, and they specialize in not only just chat GPT, but they will work with your business to help you get sustainable and then leave and leave you successful. Their goal is not to stay with you forever. Their goal is to keep you moving with excellence.
Indeed. And you know, AI is the rage right now. Joshua is an expert in AI, and he and his team can help you navigate the sometimes scary road of AI and what's happening, and deliver work with you that you won't have to worry about all the myths about AI. They know how it works for you. You know, and what I do love, Lisa, about Cressio is the pay what you can consultations to the underserved southeast sector of our city, reaching out and trying to help people.
Absolutely. So check them out at Cressio.com.
Indeed. We're sponsored by Brandon Kirk from Planet Duck.
Yes, he's the owner of Planet Duct, and he has the largest vacuums, strongest vacuums. And what is his slogan again, Frank?
Yeah, they're stronger than the vacuum of space. And Brandon and his family, with his 3 children, are just incredible. I know them personally.
Me too.
We've had a great opportunity to know them. He's a great family man. 25 years, been married to, what is his wife's name? Gava?
And she's a beautiful artist, and yes, they have an amazing farm as well.
They do. And he loves Star Wars. So if you're into that scene, give Brandon a call. He loves Star Wars, all things Star Wars-y.
Yes,
Yeah.
not only that, but he loves the Colorado Springs. His give back throughout all local businesses in town is amazing, and we sure do appreciate him in town. They do have the strongest vacuums in Colorado,
Indeed.
which will help you get amazing air quality for your home.
Indeed. They find all kinds of stuff in our vent systems. They've done my house as well, and so many of my friends.
Yep.
They really are the cream of the crop when it comes to duct cleaning.
They are.
And one last thing, you know, many of you didn't know this, but Brandon has mentored many small business people in this community.
Yes.
His give back to our community is exceptional. So make sure to look them up because they are
Stronger than the vacuum of space.
Yes, they are.
We are sponsored by the lovely, incredible Karen Butcher with Westco Insurance.
Yes, Karen is an amazing insurance agent doing home, casualty, all these different types of insurance. And here's the deal. She has some of the same customers that she had when she started 20. Hi, welcome back to the Be Encouraged Show. I am Frank.
I'm Lisa.
And we love having you as part of our audience here on Motivation Monday. We want to, as always, thank our platinum sponsor, Cressio, for the show. When you get a pay what you can consultation with them, you can learn how to penetrate the noisy market with brand recognition strategies. Visit them at Cressio.com to learn more. And check out the flyer that we provided for you guys today. You get to take that home with you, right? The Cressio rocks. I mean, right. Pay what you can consultation. We got 2 more incredible guests this afternoon.
Yes.
Who do we have, Lisa?
So to my right here, Miss Jaime McMullen Garcia, Mission Advancement Officer. Ooh, I love that.
I love that title as well.
At Step Springs, with over 20 years of experience in fundraising and development, supporting various causes, including food insecurity and veteran services. She has led numerous philanthropic campaigns, including the 60 million UCCS Ent Center for the Arts campaign.
Love that
very
place.
Cool.
Yeah.
And also founded Jovial Communication, a consulting firm for philanthropy.
Philanthropy.
There you got it.
Philanthropy.
Philanthropy. I'm like, that
So
sounded
close.
really wrong.
So close.
Okay.
It's a tough word. It's
And
a tough word.
fundraising.
Yes.
I said it twice. I'm like, that's still wrong. And then to her right is Miss Meghan Shay. She is a certified fundraising executive and the executive director at Step Denver, an organization dedicated to helping men overcome addiction through sobriety, accountability, and community support.
Isn't
Welcome,
that
ladies.
incredible? Welcome both of
Yes.
you today to the show. We love having it. But first thought that went through my head, because when you read her bio, it says helping men, yet we have 2 women here.
Yes.
Talk to us
Yes.
about that. Talk to us about
Would you like
STEP.
to
What
do
is
Yeah,
STEP?
yeah. So every man has a family. They're a son, they're a brother, they're an uncle, and we care very much about, every man that we are able to help and save. There is a family attached, and so it's a ripple effect
multiplying,
beyond.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's another component too, which really dates back far beyond our involvement with STEP, which is that since our founding in 1983, we have always been dedicated to serving men. And that is because for our mission, which is to help men experiencing homelessness overcome addiction and its consequences, where there's the greatest need is serving men. So in Colorado Springs, for example, 75% of the unsheltered in Colorado Springs are men.
Yes.
And we all know that addiction is that common thread, right? That's either leading people to homelessness or trapping them in that cycle once they find themselves there. And so that is where we can do the most good for our mission. And then we as women, as Jamie said, come to it through that other lens of this is much bigger than one man who walks through our doors. And by the way, even if it were just about that one man and they didn't have other people in their lives, they're still worthy of compassion and love.
Absolutely.
support.
And dignity.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So, 1983, STEP was formed. Tell us a little bit about the origins of STEP. Why was it formed in the first place?
Humble
How?
beginnings, let me tell you. Humble beginnings. I wish I had a photo to show you the original STEP. It almost looks like a shack, but it was this rundown building on Larimer Street, right in front of what's now Coors Field. Of course, it wasn't there at that time.
Right.
People often refer to that area as the Skid Row of that time, right? And so there were a group of men in recovery who had experienced homelessness and said, we want to help other men. And we were founded by a gentleman named Ray Hayworth who helped bring it all together. Our longtime executive director of decades was actually originally a resident of STEP.
Oh,
STEP helped him get
really?
his life back. He worked his way up to executive director. And so over the years, STEP became what it is today, moved into our current facility in 1988. We've been there ever since. And we are surrounded by bars, by the way, which is an interesting location.
Yes.
The only facility on the block that's not serving alcohol, but we are accessible to the people who need us most. But we've really grown in the past 10 years, actually. Our program as it exists today was established about 10 years ago. So we've got about 10 years worth of data to show that this model works. So it's grown from this grassroots effort without a real program to a really substantial, fresh, unique model that's producing outcomes exceeding national averages. So we're really proud and grateful for that.
As you should be.
Yes.
Yeah. Is STEP an acronym or is that a word?
It's a word.
Okay.
And
what
it's a
does
verb.
it mean?
Yes, it is. And it really, of course, as you can imagine, is very much related to the 12 steps of recovery. That was, our original name was Step 13. And about 8 years ago, they changed the name to Step Denver for a couple of reasons. One is anyone in recovery will know that now 13th stepping means something different than what it
does
meant in the
mean?
80s.
What does it
I don't
mean
know
now?
that.
So
Educate
it's
us.
sort of a, not to go into a negative, but is sort of a derogatory term for people pursuing, people with time in recovery, pursuing romantic relationships with newcomers in the rooms. And so that wasn't something
I
people
had
were
no
saying in the
idea.
80s, right?
Yeah, you don't want to be saying that
It
to
wasn't-
people.
exactly.
No.
It's a dating
once-
site.
I know, right? Exactly.
Your next step.
So that was not a term in the 80s, so
Yeah.
it was great. And then when that started becoming a regular phrase that people were talking about in the 12-step fellowship, the people leading STEP said, we're a recovery organization. We should not have a name that has that connotation. But that really coincided with them discovering that we have a model that works and that could be replicated and brought to other communities. And so they said, this is the perfect time for us to change the name, put the name of the city in the name of the organization. So there's that sense of community and ownership, which is why now we're prepared to have, we've got Step Denver, and now we will have Step Springs, which is a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we need it.
You know, Lisa, you and I, and we are in community a lot. We live a very transparent, vulnerable lives.
Yep.
And our families are very on with that. They're okay with that.
Our spouses go on to social to see where we're at.
Yeah.
For a lady who's not on social, we're like opposite. Right?
Yeah, my wife has my calendar all day.
Yeah,
She knows
yeah.
exactly. You know, that's important to me that she,
Yeah.
first of all, trusts me. And second of all, that I can be transparent and open about our family and
Yeah.
those type things. There is a reason that people do what they do. Most time there's pain points that are created that cause us to go into stuff that we do. Which one of you wants to start your personal story?
I'm always happy to. I don't want you to be on the spot, so it's up to you.
We both get a turn.
Megan's
so-
We both get a
Yeah.
turn.
I've been talking a lot, so you
Okay.
can take it away, and then I'll share mine.
Okay, fair enough. So, and Frank knows this is not something that I share openly.
Yes.
But about a decade ago, I was struggling with alcohol and battling alcohol and learned that I wasn't going to win. I wasn't going to win. And it wasn't really a fight worth fighting anymore. For a while there, it was, I can moderate, I can, I'm a smart lady. I care about my family and I should be able to do this. And so I struggled with it for a little bit, and then it came to, something that they say in the rooms is that I found victory in surrender.
Victory and surrender.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
finally just surrendered and said, this is just a fight. I don't want to fight anymore.
Yeah.
So I've been now sober of alcohol for over 8 years now.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, thank you. So, I don't share that usually openly because it's, I just never wanted it to, be held against me. The stigma is still very real. I think we're moving into a place where we're more open and comfortable talking about
We
mental
are.
health.
Oh, yes.
But there's still
and
some things.
sobriety. I mean, even there's a bar here that's now just mocktails only.
Yeah.
And there needs to be more of those.
Yes.
There really does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times my husband and I go out for an evening and ask for a fun mocktail and get, comments made,
Yeah.
really derogatory comments
Isn't
about.
that weird?
Yeah.
The way it should be uplifted and strengthened. How long you been married?
24 years.
Next year is summer, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's been married so long she doesn't remember how long.
I know. I had to think. I had to
Well,
think.
you don't have to be
Yeah.
married very long for that. to be
Yeah,
the
well,
case.
we dated for like 7 years before that,
Oh,
so it's like we've
wow.
been together forever. So it's hard to
Yeah,
remember. But
over 30 years together.
How did you
Wow.
guys meet?
high school,
Oh, so you're a high school sweetheart.
Where'd you go to high school?
Liberty High School.
Liberty?
Oh, go
Yeah.
Liberty.
He
Yeah.
was my powder puff coach.
Oh my gosh.
What's a powder puff?
It's where the girls play football during homecoming week.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And then the men players coach the girls that want to learn how to play football.
But I would have wanted to do that. We didn't
Yeah,
have
he would
that.
have, Frank. He would be like, I'll be a powder puff coach. Coach these girls
That
up.
sounds like awesome.
Well, that's where you find your wives. Is you coach them in powder puff.
Obviously. That's a smart man right
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
That's fun. You know, my daughter, she is now a freshman this year. We have 2 freshmen, different schools. But she's a cheerleader, and all the cheerleaders did the powder puff. And this year they fired cheerleaders from doing it because some of them got injured.
Oh.
Because they get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like no joke. Like those guys, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
very serious
It's
competitive
a serious
thing.
competitive thing.
Yes.
A powder puff wife.
Yes, a powder puff wife.
True. That is true.
You should do that thing, like have all these little powder puffs, like back in the day when they would puff for your marriage anniversary.
I'll have to do something like that.
Yes.
You
Get
go,
some
Jamie.
football jerseys.
Yes.
We have a plan. We have
Total
a plan.
plan. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
Just in your bedroom. I would just.
I would do
that.
Should I leave the room?
No.
This took a turn.
I would not own that thing.
We're having fun.
Yeah.
Look at
Yes,
Lisa's
we
face.
are. I know I'm already mad. Powder puff imaginations. Oh my gosh. It is real thing.
You're such a good sport, Jamie.
In a year, I want to see this.
Such a good sport.
My husband's probably watching this going, oh.
Yeah,
Right. Oh my, that is
So,
cool.
but to put a period
Yes,
on that
darling.
sentence, my draw two-step was that I have, I'm proud of, the work that I've done over the last 8 years, and intend to continue that work. And it is nice to find a nonprofit organization doing such great work, and that I have a little bit of a personal connection to.
Oh,
You've
And-
been in nonprofit work most of your adult
I
life.
really have, and
Yeah.
I've loved all the nonprofit work that I've done. From higher education to working with seniors to working with veterans.
UCCS for quite a long
Yeah, I
time.
was at UCCS for 22 years, so
Wow.
it was a really long time there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So always have a passion for higher education and learning. I was always going to be, at my core. But there was something about this that had that personal connection,
Oh, yeah.
and
You're passionate about it.
Yeah.
It comes through.
We can
So,
hear your heart.
Share where you picked up your 8-year chip.
oh yeah, that
very
was cool.
special.
That was really cool. So I was able to join the men in Denver. They once a month do cakes and coins where they come and they celebrate those milestones. And I was able to pick up my 8-year chip with the step team.
Oh,
That was really special.
Yeah.
Really special.
That is
Yeah.
so
Don't do that every day at work.
special.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how incredible is that?
Yeah.
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 Hey, your turn.
Oh goodness, that's hard to follow, Jamie. My connection to all of this is what Jamie spoke of earlier, which is that family piece. And so I grew up in a home with substance abuse and domestic violence that was always the result of the substance abuse. And so really that roller coaster ride of a childhood, I was very fortunate to have a mother that provided a lot of stability in my upbringing. And so I really believe that I had a beautiful childhood, but if most people looked at it, they would go, oh, well, there's some traumatic experiences in there. And
sure.
certainly it was sort of one of those things with any home with substance abuse is that, and domestic
Any
violence,
home.
when things are good, they're
Yeah.
good, and when they're bad, they're
Yeah.
really bad. And so that, the worst of it really was being about 13 or 14 years old and my dad coming home completely wasted and attacked my mother and ripped the phone out of the wall so we couldn't call, for help. And, my last sight was him with my mom up against the wall, like this. And so we lived out in the middle of nowhere. I'm running to the neighbor's house in the middle of the night, banging on their door to call 911. And, ultimately my dad was arrested. And so multiple experiences of arrests for him. And a lot of challenges that come with that. No license for 5 years, and all those situations. And so I've watched that and been affected by that in my life. And then at 19, found myself interning at a mental health and addiction recovery and child welfare organization.
Oh my.
And within about 4 months, they offered me a job, and I stayed there for 13 years and worked my way up to. Actually, Chief Mission Advancement Officer was my title, but a leadership role in the organization. And so then, I think the connection really was, that was my first exposure to people recovering. And I didn't even know that people, I had no concept of it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so the moment I was exposed to people recovering, it just hooked me. And now, actually, August was 20 years that I've been doing this work, supporting addiction recovery, mental health, and also in a volunteer capacity serving on a board of directors, prison reentry programming as well. So that addiction recovery piece has been that common thread for me. Worked for a police department for a couple of years, built an addiction amnesty program for people struggling with addiction, using drug forfeiture money actually to pay for scholarships to treatment and
Nice.
building those community partnerships. And so I came to STEP 6 years ago and thought that I had seen it all, thought that I had worked in this space for so long in so many different areas that I really had a full grasp on how we address these issues, and came to STEP and realized, oh, actually there's a different way, a way that's actually more effective than anything I had ever seen and more simple than anything I had ever seen, more pure and simple. And so it has been such a joy for me to step into this organization and get to be a part of helping it grow, helping us reach more men, and welcoming people like Jamie to the team who genuinely care and are here for the right reasons to help us get to this community, reach the men of Colorado Springs who desperately need us.
Absolutely.
So Megan, how big is your staff?
We have a staff of 25 right now,
Okay.
and 20 of our 25 employees are alumni of our program.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yes, I know. It's
that
a beautiful
speaks
thing.
volumes
It does,
about
right?
the program.
That's a mic
It
drop
really
on
does.
it.
It is a micro. I know. I know.
I hope that's
It's-
blasted in branding all over the place.
It is to some degree. Well, we share it on tours and all of that prominently. It is something that we celebrate. We're a peer recovery program, and so
But an executive
Go ahead, yes.
director came out of the program for the program.
Well, in the past,
Yeah, in the
yes.
past,
Yes,
right?
that's
Yeah.
true.
Right.
That is true.
That's insane. I
Yes.
mean, really.
Yes.
It's
Right.
about marketing.
And you think
Yeah,
about
exactly.
And
right?
when we come to the Springs, the director of programs in the Springs will be an alumni of our program, someone who
How he
lived
pissed
on the
off.
streets,
Yeah.
who nearly lost his life on multiple occasions in encampments, and finally woke up under a couple inches of snow and said, I can't do another winter homeless in Colorado. Got some help, and we've got another gentleman who is going to be in a leadership role who also was walking the streets and high on meth, and they've lived that experience. They know exactly what to expect, I guess, for the men, because they know what's possible.
Absolutely.
And so they're guiding them, providing that support, giving them the tools they need to be able to achieve the life that they've now seen as possible for themselves. It's a beautiful thing.
And it's really neat for the moment a new resident comes in, from admissions to all the steps that they go through, that along the way the person is saying, I was in your shoes. I did this, and
How
you can do this. If
incredible
I
is
can do
that?
this, you can do this.
Yes.
And it's just it's powerful.
It
It's-
is powerful.
Well, Frank, your story, and he's an example for the people to have hope that they could be a business person and be successful.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
visually, you dress like you dress, but your life was never always like this.
Oh no.
And
No,
you
no,
share
no.
your story so openly, and that serves so much in the public.
Well, it creates Me Too moments.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It does.
It does.
Because how many people are hiding? I was talking to those people just the other day. I
Yeah.
was saying, you know what? People look at you and they go, and they think they're better. There's some people that are pointing, they think they're better. There's some people that just live in fear because of your experience and what you've been through. But there's people in gigantic homes in this city, in beautiful places, that are living the same life you lived on the street. That are drunk, that are,
Doesn't
that have
discriminate.
mental, it
That's
doesn't,
right.
it's
They just
everywhere.
hide it.
They do,
Behind
because they
their
have
walls.
these edifices to keep it secret in,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah, and et cetera.
It's
so.
the stigma that Jamie talked about.
It is
and,
the
and there
stigma.
is still a lot of judgment around this
Big-
issue.
yeah.
No matter how many of us have been impacted, which I've never met a person who hasn't been personally
Right.
impacted in some way, and yet still there's this judgment because people think it's a choice. And so I think the more we can educate people about the science behind addiction, the fact that it's a disease, there is a solution, but the medicine isn't, I take this pill, right?
Yeah.
The medicine is a program that you're working on a daily basis to keep your disease in remission. And the more we can educate people around the science of it, I think will help to reduce some of that judgment and stigma. But one of the first things we do with the men is teach them about their disease so that they can shed that shame that they've carried for so long.
Right.
All right, yeah, indeed. Wow, what a wonderful, I love this place, right? I did a church I go to, we reach people on the streets and stuff.
On
but
the
I've
daily.
always been led, because the only reason I was brought out was to go in. That was the
Yes,
point.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? What was the lessons behind that? Was to go to help someone else, to serve the rest of humanity well, and the things that I've gone through myself.
Yes.
Right?
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing your story and giving
Absolutely.
people so much hope.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you bet. You know, young lady, I think that our quote again really is apropos in the space that we're in today. I ask you, Jamie, you know the Robert Frost quote because you've been in education for so long, right? I should be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in the wood and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. What is all the difference that you see STEP making in the Springs? Come on, think big vision, young lady.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
well, what I hope for is what we were just talking about, is that we can help folks make a shift from thinking that these men or anyone battling addiction has made a choice. Maybe there was a choice made at one time, but the choice was not to be addicted, right? And
Yeah.
so what I'm hoping for in Springs is that there are supporters, champions that understand that if people are willing to make a change and they show up and they give it 100% and they have the support of the STEP team, that we are going to do everything that we can to provide them with the tools that they need to make it.
To make it.
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. We got a
And-
lot of programs in the Springs already that are really tackling these things.
Yes.
Mhm.
So what do you tell people? What's the differentiator? Why do we need STEP Springs given what we have now?
Right. Well, I always want to be cautious because anything that I say doesn't necessarily mean that other programs aren't doing this
Right,
or aren't
right,
doing
right,
it well.
right.
So I want to start with that because
Definitely, yes.
we've been welcomed to Springs, and that's
We've been
part of
asked
the
to come.
yes,
Yeah.
and that's part of the reason why I'm here is like we're wanted here, and so, but my personal opinion about it is that there is accountability is first and foremost, and we hold the men accountable. They have to learn to do things, basic skills, things that maybe they've learned and forgotten or maybe never learned. And so we go through those things. They need to get a, tax-paying full-time job. And we don't get those jobs for them, but we support them through our Career Center to get those jobs. And the majority of our men in Denver, and we anticipate in Springs, will have a job within the first 30 days. They are not getting any government assistance. All of that stops. It's you can do this. You yourself have the ability to do these things. What I was always really impressed with was that sometimes when people go into a recovery situation, they go to a treatment facility, they're in what I like to call a recovery bubble, which means they learn all the tools in this safe environment, and then when they're done, they leave and they have to go back and figure out how to make that work in the real world.
In the real world.
And it's reality sets in that you're not in this recovery bubble.
Yeah.
And so the difference that I observe is that from, after the first week of orientation, our men are encouraged to go out and look for the job or go to the job, and they leave the facility during the day and they go work or go, find employment or whatever they need to do, and then they come back for programming in the evening. And so they right away are learning and living how to be in recovery at the same time. Especially our men in Denver, because they leave the facility at 7 a.m. or whatever time it is in the morning, 7:30 a.m., and they're surrounded by bars. And then when they come home at night, they are passing all the bars. And so they are getting to make those choices while knowing that they're going back to a supportive, safe environment where there's not going to be anything to tempt them, and they can keep working on their sobriety. What would you add to that?
Just that exactly what you just described allows them to prove to themselves they can actually do this because they have every opportunity to drink and use out in the real world.
Sure.
They're facing stress and temptation just as they will in life
Yep.
Yeah.
when they're no longer in the program, and they're able to put everything they're learning into practice in real time. And every day they come home and they pass that breathalyzer and they prove to themselves another day, I can actually do this. And
That's so good.
that is so powerful. And by the time they transition, they've got thousands of dollars in savings. They have a transition plan and a relapse prevention plan. They know exactly where they're going. They have full-time employment. They've been able to rebuild their family relationships because it hasn't been all talk. They've been able to show through their actions that there's a real
Yes.
change happening. They've got a fellowship and a community outside of our walls to continue to engage in their recovery once they leave our program. And all of these tools that they've now got to be able to implement in their lives. And so it really becomes this foundation that is very difficult to build when you're in that bubble. And because they're not in a bubble while in our program, they're able to put all those tools into practice. And it just becomes routine and second nature to live life a certain way, to be accountable and responsible, to restore that sense of dignity that comes with self-sufficiency,
Absolutely.
and most importantly, being able to actually contribute to their community and their families.
Yes. Yeah, you're married, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah. How does your husband feel about you working in a man's program?
He is just incredibly proud. He's been on, so I'm also married to my high school sweetheart.
Are you
A
really?
little bit behind them. We've been together 24 years,
Oh,
but only
my.
married 18.
Yeah.
But so he's been on this journey with me from the start, and he knows that this is my purpose in life, and he loves our men and wants them to have the opportunity. Just the other day, he maybe did a bad thing, but I think it's a good thing. He actually spent some time talking with a gentleman who was on the streets and told him, I went through this place called Step Denver, and they really helped me, because he knew that there would be no credibility if he didn't share, like, there's real hope here. And so I sort of joked with him. I said, well, I guess in that case, a lie is right for the greater good, because the guy actually started listening to him and wrote it down and said, where is that? And and so he talked about the program with this gentleman and got him to want to come to
How
Step.
cool
And
is
so
that?
he's got a heart for this population too. And
What does he do?
He works in the construction industry.
Oh,
so
that's
he's a
perfect.
foreman.
South
and-
Africa.
yeah, so
There's a-
he's
that's
surrounded-
a right
so
place.
he's
It
surrounded
is,
by it as
right?
well.
Uh-huh.
And he just, I think he's just incredibly proud that I've been able to take this passion and love that I have for all of these people and provide offer whatever I have to give to have this purpose in life. And
Isn't
so
this
he's my
interest-
biggest cheerleader.
Is it? That is so cool.
Yeah.
Your husband's
So
in the
cool.
construction industry, isn't he?
No.
No, he
banking.
isn't.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Banking.
Yeah.
That's right. He's been there
Yeah.
a long time,
Yeah,
hasn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is he Ent?
No.
Oh, okay.
That would have been too perfect.
Yeah, I
no.
know.
But I think the other key is that when you know that these are good men who have shown the initiative to come into a program because they want to better themselves and they want to be the person they know they can be, right, in their core. These are men who are respectful, who are kind, who are loving. And so he knows that I'm surrounded by good men
Good man.
who respect me as
Yes.
well as a
Yeah.
person.
Yes.
And so there's never been any concern because he knows the type of people I'm surrounded by are people who have made a choice to better themselves, and they're good men.
Indeed. You know, I'm interested in this. I want you to take us through, including intake, the progression of a human in Step,
Yes.
going through Step
Would
Denver.
love to. So it's a 4-phase program, and it's geared to go anywhere from 4 to 6 months to up to 2 years, depending on the individual. The first thing I have to share right out of the gate is that there's no cost to enter our program, and we do not bill insurance and we do not bill Medicaid.
Oh,
And we are
Wow.
entirely funded through philanthropy, so we are not taking any government funding of any type because we want. I know.
there's
I
the
know.
separator right there.
Yes. And having worked,
Hallelujah.
in the world, which most of us have,
Yeah.
right, where government funding dictates who and how you're going to serve,
Exactly.
Right.
and that and well-meaning organizations. I was part of one of them. Really begin to chase the money, and it
Yeah.
becomes this mindset of like, how do we get that contract, and we'll change our program in this way to be able to fit this RFP that's coming down,
Yep.
and your whole focus shifts away from the people you're serving, can shift away from the people you're serving. And so at STEP, there's this purity that I spoke of, in which we make every decision based on one thing, which is what's best for the men we serve. And we're able to do that because the community rallies around us and gives us the ability to serve these men in this way. And so, so all those barriers that exist are wiped out, and we provide same-day admission. So we do applications Monday through Friday in the morning for same-day intake at 2:30. And so that immediate access is key, as we all know. That moment of courage, right, in the
Don't
fear,
lose it.
right?
Yes, yes.
We have to respond quickly.
Yes.
And so that's the key. So when they come in, they're in orientation for 5 days, kind of getting their bearings, learning the program, receiving 15 hours of career counseling. Jamie talked about that. And then after that first week, they're in phase 1, which is about 30 to 45 days. And that's the stability phase, getting your ID, getting a full-time job, showing that you're going to be responsible, showing up to all of your meetings and small groups and curriculum activities on time. So they're just kind of getting those fundamental things in place, getting a sponsor and a 12-step fellowship outside of our program. And so that happens in the first 30 to 45 days. The second phase is development, and that's the heavy lift, because that's when they're setting goals in the 8 dimensions of wellness. We call it the wheel of recovery, but it's all the parts of your life that have been destroyed because of your addiction that have to be rebuilt from scratch. And so they're setting SMART goals in those areas, and they're receiving their peer coaching with an alumni of our program who's a certified peer and family support specialist, one-on-one helping them set those goals and hit those milestones. And so that phase is going to take about 60 days, depending on the individual, to really start making that progress. And then in the third phase, that's transition. That's when they're really preparing for what's next, whether that be moving into a STEP sober living home or back with family or into their own place. But that's where that relapse prevention is happening, getting a higher paying career path job, continuing to build their savings. We require them to put 20% of their gross savings or gross income into savings, so they're building that nest egg for their future. Average savings for men in our program is $3,200. We've got men in sober living with upwards of $18,000 for their future, so it's incredible. And so they're really working on preparing for that transition. And doing all their new budgeting, and so that phase is hopefully going to lead to sober living. That will be sort of phase 2 of our Step Springs growth. We'll have our initial 50-bed facility. First 3 phases will happen in that 50-bed facility, and then we'll be looking to add sober living so that our men can transition to that community phase, which is still engaged in the program, but a little more freedom and flexibility. Your kids can come stay with you on the weekends, overnight guests, all of that. A little more normal life in a residential setting. And so that's the 4th and final phase. But at every step of the way, we're just looking for effort and progress. So everyone's going to move at their own pace, right? And these are individual people. They're going to all have a different set of challenges that they bring, obstacles, also skill sets that help them move at different rates. But we're just looking for effort and progress from the men in our program, and they don't become complacent. They keep striving for more. But that restored self-sufficiency and self-esteem is really the magic of STEP. And as you said, we see ourselves as sort of fitting in the whole continuum, that there are all of these incredible providers across from emergency care to transitional housing, all across the spectrum in this community, and they have all told us that there is a gap that we are filling, that we're needed here. And the only reason we're coming is because those providers who are boots on the ground doing the work every day, in a resounding voice, told us, we need you here. And so we are really, aggressively working to open as quickly as we can. We hope by this time next year to be able to fit into that community.
Is it a new build out, that 50-bed thing?
It's actually a renovation of an existing building.
Where
so
is
we
it?
purchased the building. It is, you might tell this better than I could. It's North Park Drive.
The address is not coming to me, but it is on North Park Drive.
On North Park, okay.
Yeah.
So it's at the intersection of I-25 and Garden of the Gods.
Yeah.
There's a facility there, and as Megan shared, there'll be 50 beds there. And my goal is for us to open our doors before the first snowfall next year. I really hope that we can.
What are you going to do in the interim? What's happening before this becomes a reality? I mean, for this facility, what's happening?
So what's happening right now is construction is scheduled to begin in January. And we're told that the construction is going to take about 7 months, but we all know that is hard to say. That's why I thought if we can at least open our doors before the winter snowfall, that would be great. So right now, what we're doing is we're just, it's an awareness that we're coming, and if somebody needs help today, we may not be the solution because we are not here, but we are coming. Although they are welcome to call the Denver facility, and if they can, get themselves up to Denver, they could start in Denver. So we've been a little cautious about advertising too early because we're not quite ready for the residents, but we are ready for the champions and the donors and the supporters because we're about 90% through our capital campaign, raising the money that we need to do for the construction to open. And then, of course, after that, we're looking for those donors that would be willing to be, reoccurring donors over time and help us with the program costs.
Tell us about the donor program, because they need to know.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
So currently, if anyone is interested in making a donation, they can go to stepdenver.org and they can make a gift there. And I believe on the drop down, there's an option where they can select Colorado Springs.
I don't know, but there is a box where they can type in Step Springs
Yes.
or Colorado Springs and designate their gift, and we'll transfer the funds to the Step
cool.
Springs account.
Okay.
So we are keeping, actually we established Step Springs as its own 501c3 nonprofit organization so that everything will be local. It is technically a subsidiary of Step Denver, meaning we have one board of directors overseeing both. We're in the process of recruiting board members from Colorado Springs to serve on the Step board. So people are interested in that as well. But we thought it would be really important that there's that community ownership, and so people giving to Denver, their funds will stay there, and the Springs exclusively serving the Springs.
We have that
So
little
we've got
friendly competition.
Oh,
anyway.
do we? Yes.
You didn't know about that?
I didn't know about the friendly competition.
Yes, it is. It's like
Are you going to be in competition with the Denver?
friendly competition.
Friendly competition.
Friendly.
But it is one of those things where we are one organization and we are, operating in that way from the board level and certain leadership roles, but then beyond that, it really is its own organization, and every gift that's made to Step Springs will stay in the Springs. And will be kept separate from Denver. Some people will give to both, and we've already got donors doing that, actually.
Who are the donors? I mean, is there a profile for donors with STEP, or is it everyone?
I think that, I would say there is, but it's not the way that most people would think. So the profile, really, it's an individual who, the way that we always say it is, people who are investing in those who are ready and willing to invest in themselves. And so I find that, I know, I can't take credit for that, but it hit me when I heard it for the first time. And so I echo that. But I find that our donors they have limited resources to give. It is a sacrifice to make a donation to a nonprofit. And they want to know that their money is actually going to do something in someone's life. And the best place to invest is in people who are going to show up in their own lives, who are motivated and they're ready and willing. They just need an opportunity. And so the profile are people who really want to commit to giving someone that opportunity, someone who's really ready and willing. Beyond that, we've got very young donors. We have elderly, donors who've been giving for decades, actually. I've spoken with some donors in their mid to late 90s who are still giving.
Wow.
God bless them, the impact they've had. But it's across the age and political spectrum because these are human values. And so that none of what we're doing is political. I do think everyone's going to have, we all need something that's not political. But I think it's just, these are human values. And that idea of accountability is huge. I find that most of our donors, when we say, why do you give to STEP, they really appreciate that the men are held accountable and
Yeah.
that we're not trying to do for people what they can do for themselves. We're giving
Absolutely.
them that
Yes.
hand up, not a handout. And so that's the
We hear that
the
a lot.
key.
It's
We do
been
hear it.
trivialized,
It
right?
But it's
Yeah.
powerful
Yeah,
still,
it
isn't
is still powerful. It is.
Yeah.
And when you can demonstrate, what's the data that you have to back
Oh.
up the hand up?
Yes, well, and you know, of course my memory should be better, but I'm going to cheat. I am going to cheat. I have so many numbers, as I'm sure you can appreciate, floating in my mind these days between the two locations and all the
Yeah,
work
yeah.
that we're doing. But we really take seriously the outcomes, and we always say we're going to be the truth tellers. This is not easy work. It is not for the faint of heart.
No.
There are some heartbreaking moments in this work, as you all know, because of the work that you're doing. And so no one's cured when they leave our program.
Yeah.
We hope that we've planted the seeds and given people the tools and ability and resources and community they need to be able to, you know, should they relapse, rebound quickly. But we know that it's not going to be 100%. What matters to us is that that the men are prepared to leave our program and continue their success. So a lot of times success is measured by what happens while people are in a program.
Yeah.
And that matters to us too. Like she said, you know, 77% of our men get full-time tax-paying jobs
Yeah.
within 30 days. Given their criminal backgrounds and
Yeah.
large gaps in employment history,
That's
it's astounding.
awesome.
I don't
That's
have
amazing.
any-
What-
Yeah.
I
just
know. Within
out the
30
gate.
days.
Yeah.
Almost 100% by 45 days. So, so that's astounding. You know, 83% report repairing family relationships during their stay. We're proud of that.
So good.
But what we really measure is what happens after they leave. And so we follow up at 8 different intervals in the first 12 months after they leave our program. The person following up is their peer coach. So they've already got a relationship of trust, right? That's been built over time. Our contact rate last year was that those recovery support managers were able to reach 79% of the men in
That's
those follow-up calls,
incredible.
Wow.
which
That
is
really
unheard of.
It's unheard of.
And it's because when you know someone, that
Speaks to the relationship.
right? When you
Yes.
have that relationship,
Yep.
you're more likely to answer when that person calls or
Yeah.
texts. So, so with a 79% contact rate, over the past 5 years, our average outcomes in those follow-up contacts were that 79% were still sober, 82% were still employed, and 89% were still housed, independently paying for their own housing.
Amazing.
So it is, the proof is in the pudding, as they
Proof
say.
is in the pudding. Yes.
And we, you know, we don't collect data just for the sake of collecting
Yeah.
data.
Yeah.
We use this to shape our program. We make changes throughout the year and adapt and add, you know, little bits and pieces
And
to the
it's helpful when
programming.
people are going to donate their hard-earned money to these programs
Yes.
that we
Yeah.
can see outcomes.
We're
Exactly.
going to be accountable.
Yeah.
You're
There's
proving it works.
Yes, the biggest thing that speaks to a lot of donors too is
Yeah.
the economic impact, which, you know, here in the Springs, actually, based on the cost of homelessness that actually the police department's HOT team estimated, which was $58,000 per person.
Yep.
And the fact that our men are going to have full-time tax-paying jobs contributing right
Yeah,
back to the
absolutely.
community. We estimate at least $35,000 a year will be their salaries, but it could be higher.
Yeah.
But we look at that opportunity benefit per person served in Denver based on just those follow-up outcomes, not the how many were employed while in our program. Follow-up outcomes. Last year we had an $11.9 million economic impact on a $2.7 million budget. We served almost 400 men with $2.7 million. And every dollar that was donated was turned into $5.64 of impact based on outcomes.
Yeah.
And that's when I say that accountability principle applies to us as well. We are accountable to the people who
Yes.
give their hard-earned money to make this possible, and we report back on what we did with that money and show that
Those
what
kind
you're
of
doing
numbers
is making a
track all
difference.
day.
Oh,
young
yeah.
lady.
powerful.
They are
Yeah.
powerful.
We take it seriously. Yeah.
Oh,
So
my.
Megan, quick question. How's your
Yes.
dad doing?
He is doing really well. He is. I wouldn't say he's in recovery. You know, he's not gone down that path at all. But for the most part, he's actually working in Tampa right now doing hurricane cleanup. And he just came to see me last summer and got on a
Aw.
plane for the first time in over 50 years to come see me, and we had a wonderful visit. And so I would say he's doing well. It may be hit and miss. I don't.
Right.
There are moments right where I call
Oh,
and
yeah.
I can hear in the voice some
Yes.
slurring of words
Yeah.
and things.
Yeah.
But he is a hard worker, and he's the reason that I'm so passionate about this work, because he is an incredible human being who wouldn't hurt a fly, who is so kind and compassionate, lives a life of gratitude. And I hope that I have half the character traits that I admire in him. And so he's the reason that I'm so passionate about this, because who someone is when they are under the influence is not who they are.
Yes.
And I want men to be who they are. And he is someone that I respect and love and look up to. And who he is when he's under the influence is not, that is not how I view him.
Yep.
And so I'm very proud of the person that he is, whether he enters recovery or not. I know that he's putting a lot of good out into the world. And he's the motivation I have for all these guys to be free of their addiction and to be able to be their true self.
Well, we're proud of the person you are.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
I really
He's
am.
raised
I
an
wanna-
amazing
yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
It says a lot.
His legacy, even whether he intends it to or not,
Yeah.
is being felt in community through you.
Yes.
Right,
Now you're
and the
making-
light.
Yes.
Well, it's just
So true.
It
That
is.
means a lot to me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And I got a lot to learn, don't I?
We learn from each other. We're
Incredible team, you
we'll be a
guys.
dynamic duo.
Yes.
She's like a computer
Oh,
processor
good.
of everything numbers.
I just cheated. That's for the record.
Yeah.
But I do feel that we are women on a mission.
Yes, I love it.
And I just think that we are approaching this with our hearts so
Mhm.
full of what is possible, and really hopeful for this community to rally around the men who really need step and to make this a reality.
Those numbers really, they're transformative
Mm-hmm.
numbers.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are, because I've mentored guys coming through the Springs Rescue Mission for over 20 years. Through the program,
Yes.
the addiction program and the homelessness program. And, no knock on Springs Rescue Mission. I love the work they do. I'm so thankful for them.
Yeah.
But, I took a break because I was so heartbroken about how many men went right back to their lifestyles again, after investing all this time and et cetera. It's just heartbreaking.
It's really
It really was. But doesn't this give you a lot of hope?
It does, and the thing is that you're teaching them a verb of stepping each day. And I think that the gentleman that maybe you may have mentored in the past didn't have the role models, the specific steps to do it, to thrive, and all the way down to the financial planning and
Yes.
saving,
Which
and
is huge.
that's
by the way.
amazing because
Yes.
their background, maybe they never learned how to do finance.
A lot of us that have never been out there haven't learned that.
Right.
The things I have learned in my own, honestly, that I've been able to implement in my own life,
Mhm.
and that's what I tell them. I'm like, I'm learning from you, right? I'm just
Right.
trying to do what you're doing, but yes, the financial literacy, budgeting.
Yes.
And it's everything from making your bed in the morning when you get up and making it
Oh yes,
decently
Yes.
Yeah.
to being able to prepare your own meals on a budget. And so we have a nutritionist
Yeah.
come in and help with that, and then there's the fitness, and we have a fitness person come in. So there's all these just little tiny things because you don't know what each person needs.
Yeah.
And to your point, the hard part about working or mentoring someone or sponsoring someone is you have to give them 100% because you never know. You don't know of the 5 people that you're working with
Yep.
which one it's going to stick with. But that one person that it sticks with, it makes all the difference.
It's a life you're saving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It could be your own.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
So
true.
thank you guys so much for coming
Yes.
in. We have to whine a little bit because Lisa want to ask you a transformative question that both of you are required to do on this show. Right.
Yes. So Megan, I'll start with you. As you know, our listeners love that we're all about infusing hope and encouragement to the world. So if you wouldn't mind looking into that camera and encouraging the world and then letting them know how to reach you.
Oh my goodness, this is a lot of pressure. There are so many things I could say. I just encourage you to know that the small things are big things, and that your smallest interaction with a person, looking them in the eye, giving them the time of day, letting them feel human, could be the thing that saves their life. And never underestimate the power of the smallest act and what you can do for one person. And so, yes, we hope to do big things, but we do it one person at a time, one small interaction at a time. And you can currently reach us through stepdenver.org. Soon we will have stepsprings.org live in about a month. But my name, again, is Meghan Shay. And should I give my email address? I don't know. mshay, S-H-A-Y, at stepdenver.org. And we'd love to host you for a tour or come speak to you or just have a Zoom, whatever you like. If you're interested.
Yes.
Please come out.
Right now,
Yes.
tours are really fun right now because it's an empty building, and so you can really start to see the vision for what it will be in 7 months. And so it's sort of a blank canvas, and we've got all the renderings and things we can show you. But if this really speaks to your heart and your mission, we just encourage you to get involved, and we welcome you into the STEP family.
Indeed. Thank you.
Da, 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 da.
All right.
You had time to think about
Oh
it.
my goodness. Yeah, you did great.
You're welcome. Pay me later.
Yeah, okay. So, as a reminder, I'm Jaime McMullen Garcia, and I am born and raised native Colorado Springs. So I'm so excited to be part of Step Springs and all the things that I've been blessed to be able to do with this community over the years. My Be Encouraged statement would be that if you're struggling with any kind of addiction, or if you know someone that is struggling, that there's help out there. And even if you've tried before for yourself or for someone else, there are other options, and maybe STEP would be an opportunity for you. And even if it's not right for you, there are resources out there, and to just, I guess, be brave and be willing to ask for help and figure out, how to get there. I had some really important people rally around me 8 years ago.
Yes.
Because they knew, like Meghan said, that that's not the person that I was, and that's not the person that I was bound to be.
Yeah.
So I would just say, reach out, ask for help. Don't be embarrassed. It is hard. It is really hard. And some of us get really good at covering and protecting those things that are not the best sides of us.
Yes.
And sometimes you just have to expose those things to get better, and to be a better person. And I'll go back to my, you can find victory in surrender statement, because it's really important to me. I never thought I would surrender. That's not my style, but sometimes you just need to. So with that being said, if you want to learn more about Step Springs, or if you want to have a talk about recovery with me, my email is jgarcia@stepsprings.org. And coming very soon will be stepsprings.org. But in the meantime, you can find both of us through the stepdenver.org website. Thank
And
you.
one thing I forgot to ask you guys, is 18 and over, or what is the age?
Good question. It's actually 21 and older.
Oh, okay.
And it really just kind of speaks to
makes
that
sense.
readiness,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
I feel our men need to have lived a little, right? To
Okay.
get to that
Yep.
place where they say, where they're able and ready to surrender and say,
Yes.
I've got to do something different. So we really do lean on our referral partners for those that are under 21 to be able to get them to the right place.
Great.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Great question.
Ooh, this was good.
It
Very
was.
rich.
Yeah, very rich. Before we wrap today, thank you, ladies, for being a part of our show. I knew it was going to be incredible.
Yeah.
We rock like that. Before we wrap up, we want to spotlight a couple of our sponsors. Once more, Wesco Insurance and the amazing Karen Butcher. She loves helping people save and get the best service ever. She's my insurance agent.
She's mine too.
Indeed. Contact her through our website at beencouraged.net, or you can go to wescoinsurance.com to reach out to Karen as well. And our guy Planet Duck, Brandon Kirk, and his team offer astronomical air duct cleaning with the most powerful vacuum trucks in Colorado. They are stronger than the vacuum of space. Yes, indeed. So go and get them. Use their services. We've both used his services
Yes,
well.
he's amazing. And
Yeah.
more and more people are seeing the benefits of a sponsorship with us. We're now up to 28 sponsors within only 15 months. Visit us at beencouraged.net to become a sponsor and get your name out there to our growing audience.
Our platinum sponsor has seen an aggressive 900% growth in their business in just 7 months. So like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn to join us on our journey to extend hope and encouragement and help people realize their potential through networking, collaboration, and community involvement. And remember, if you want to join us internationally, go to our website and select international via Instagram to join us live from anywhere in the world.
Indeed, anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
We sit in a space where every human being wants to, even if they don't even know they want to, but hope is derived from encouragement and bringing that to people, and we refuse to participate in current culture and the things that are so negative, and we want to bring something different,
Yes,
don't we?
sir.
The fabulous Lisa Sennett.
And the amazing Dr. Frank Sinclair.
Yeah, so thank you so much for being with us on the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa. We will see you in 1 week. No, we won't, because we're not doing next week, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving
A week
week.
off.
Wait, is
Yeah.
Thanksgiving next week? It
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah,
Already?
yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I'll be in Florida hanging out with my
Yes,
youngest
you will be
baby.
missed.
Yeah, yeah. And we'll see you the week after. She
Thanks,
will,
everyone.
because I'll still
Yes.
be in Florida.